Hello, welcome everybody to another episode of HeartSlayers. You're here with Derrick Acosta and
Meg Turner.
We are the HeartSlayers. We're taking calls today, solving people's problems, relationship issues, friendship issues, family situations, whatever you want to talk about. So without any further ado, let's get to it. All right, everybody, we're here with CJ. CJ, what's up?
Hey there. So just briefly, the situation, I'm 28 years old. I've been dating this girl for about 8 months now. She's 24. We are both nurses. We met up at the same hospital that we work at. We work in different wings, so it's not like she's there every day. But unfortunately, on New Year's, we broke up. And she said she wanted to keep it as a break. I'm defining it as a breakup, you know.
Okay.
It's like half the word is a break, whatever. And I was wondering if you guys had any experiences or things that for breaks, like they came out positive, or any tips or experiences that you know about breaks being successful, or because the one thing that she wants, we've been talking a little bit, like just the other day, she just doesn't want things to go back the same they were, right? And I'm removing all the details because I know you guys, this time is short and all that, but what are some things you think's good to go?
Well, so what was the catalyst to the break? Did something happen between you guys?
It was kind of more about spending meaningful time together. You know, like in the holidays, it's pretty stressful, especially with our like schedules and stuff. She works days, I work nights. The main thing was like being in the moment, spending time together, meaningful time together, not just being like, hey, what did you eat? Or, you know, default questions and such.
Yeah.
And so I think the one thing that I messed up is on New Year's. Like, I think she told me, like, she was going to break up with me, like, a day or two before New Year's. I kind of felt it. And I was like, hey, can we spend New Year's together? And stuff like that. It was, like, my idea to hang out, right? I went over to her folks' place. And I essentially left before midnight because I felt uncomfortable. I knew it was happening. I didn't want to, like, you know, ring in the new year knowing this is going to be bad, and I kind of left. And she called me up at, like, 3 o'clock and was like, yeah, we need to talk. And that's what really happened. And
so then you guys broke up at 3 in the morning on New Year's Day?
It was pretty about, like, she told me we needed to talk, and we woke up around 9, and then we walked around, like, behind the barn, and we broke up at that time. Like,
tough break.
Rose Parade was on, the balloons are up still. I'm like, let's go take a walk. No.
Oh man, and it's the breakup conversation. So your question is, do breaks work, and do we have any positive experience with taking a break? Did she say it was a breakup? She said it was just taking a break, right?
Yeah, she said let's take a break, but I felt that she really needs a breakup.
Okay.
But she told me that she's never been on a break. It's like her first and my own, like, personal real adult relationship. And it's like, I'm not sure what that means, if it's a breakup or a break, but definitely some space. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it. You hit the nail on the head. Taking a break is one half of the phrase break up.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's pretty representative of the situation. You're not totally broken up, but you're halfway there. Yeah. You can kind of go either way. What's your experience with this, Meg? You ever taken a break?
Yeah, and I could tell you there were no good experiences with it.
Yeah, I've never had a good experience with taking a break either.
It always ends up with not getting back together, at least in my experience, but I'm sure there are instances where people decide, like, hey, I think we can make this work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, here's the thing about the break and why it always leads to the breakup.
Yeah.
Or why most of the time it does. And maybe this will give you some tips, CJ, but I feel like you guys aren't feeling each other in the relationship, or one person is kind of not feeling the other person. So they go on a break, And then the person who was really into the relationship, who really wants to save it, gets really sad.
Yeah.
And gets depressed about the situation.
Yeah.
And it doesn't put them in the most attractive light, because then they're just like moping around being like, you know, waiting. Are we done with this break? Do you feel better? Do you like me again? And it always kind of like drives a wedge in between the two people.
Right, because you're kind of splitting yourselves in two different directions, and there's a reason why you're taking a break.
Yeah, and emotionally, it doesn't put the person in the best light, because they're confused and they don't know. In this case, it would be CJ. I'm sure you don't know what she's thinking. I'm sure you're upset about the situation, and you're probably not being the best version of you, or the most attractive version of yourself.
Right.
Which is natural, because you're probably already going through the stages of a breakup while she's like, oh, we're just on a break.
Yeah.
Ooh, jeez.
Is that her? I'm just
No, that's
kidding.
Amazon Prime delivery notification service that I have with my dog.
Nice.
Sorry.
So my tips, honestly, in this situation for you, you know, it's tough because I'm sure it sounds like you want to get back together.
Yeah.
And you want to, as they say, win her back. But honestly, the best thing you can do, I think, is to give her plenty of space and try to be okay with the situation. I mean, you got to accept that you guys might not get back together, but you need to be basically just happy, fun-loving, go hang out with your friends, have a good time, be the CJ that you were before you guys met. And if you're lucky, if it's the best case scenario, you know, she will see kind of what she saw in you before. And to be frank, sometimes when you're dating a girl and she's like, I don't know if I'm feeling this relationship, we need to go on a break. And then the guy's like, all right, fine, and goes off and starts having all this fun with his friends and doesn't seem very affected. There's a little bit of jealousy involved, like, oh, wait, I thought he would be all upset. He's not. He's having fun. Well, maybe we should hang out again, you know? And kind of, once they see, you know, it goes both ways. If they see that you get really upset, it's like, I made the right choice being on this break.
Yeah. So if she sees like the fun version of you, like, oh, that's like why we started dating in the first place, that could be a really good thing.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I don't know.
I feel like going on the break and not completely making it a breakup is kind of like one person is testing the other a little bit. Like, you know, are you going to be okay emotionally if this relationship... I think it's basically... You know, you like the person, but you're afraid that the relationship is getting too serious, and you don't know if you want to be that serious.
Right.
So you go on a break to see if this person is going to become completely depressed and collapse. You're kind of testing to see, like, is their whole life me? Or are they okay to be just a regular person all on their own? And once you see that they are, it's like, okay, we can start dating again.
Or sometimes girls will do that thing where they want you to kind of, like, fight for them. And they'll test out a break to be like, oh, like, he's going to want to try to win me back. And, I mean, sometimes guys just don't get that hint.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the other side of it. See, I'm saying, like, don't try to win her back. Walk away,
So,
have fun.
It all depends on the girl, so you kind of have to read the situation.
Okay. Okay, so let's combine our advice here. I say be cool, have fun, spend time with your friends. And every once in a while, just reach out to her, see how she's doing, you know, in the lightest, happiest way possible. Just try to rekindle that meaningful hangout time, like as you put it. So I think a little bit of time apart, and then maybe a nice hangout session, one or two of those. And, you know, I think you can steer yourself into happier waters here. I actually do feel like, now that I think about it, there have been friends of mine who went on a break, but then none of them got super depressed or morose. They just gave each other some space, and then that's what they needed, and they got back together.
Yeah.
Right on.
So
keep on being me. Yeah, I haven't really talked to her for like 14 days. Like, it was my birthday recently, and I didn't drunk text or call. I've been like on a media blackout with her.
Okay.
And then I just, you know, hit her up the other day. We went for like a pleasant walk. laughed a lot. It was pretty good, and just giving her space. I'm not like texting her every second, just being me, going to work, and just
Well, it sounds like you're
having
doing
time.
everything right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you
Yeah.
guys had fun, that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
She just said she needs a lot of time. Obviously, I'm not gonna force it. She's an adult. I'm an adult. These things take time. Obviously, they're very core decisions that we've made. So I think that your advice is good. Like, just take our time, be happy, and just keep
Yeah.
on going. Huh?
You do you, and let her see that you're just still the same great guy that you always were, and maybe she'll come around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
On.
Well,
Thanks
thanks
for
for the
listening.
call,
Appreciate
CJ.
it.
Absolutely. Keep us updated with any developments.
Sure,
And,
I'll try maybe next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll catch you later.
Thanks again, guys.
Yeah,
Laters.
no problem. See ya. All right, everybody. We're going to take an email here. This email comes from Jay, and it says, "Hello, HeartSlayers. I work as an English teacher in a private school in Japan. Recently, my school let me know that they would not be renewing my contract. This is basically the Japanese way of saying you're fired, as no one ever actually gets truly fired, so the school can save face. The reason behind this decision was a coworker with a lot of seniority and power in the school doesn't like me. He is verbally and sometimes physically abusive to the children, and
my God.
after a year of standing idly by and doing nothing, I reported him to his boss. Afterwards, she talked to him about it, and he had held a grudge against me ever since. With contract renewals coming up, he came up with a lie in order to get me fired. His word against mine, and they trusted him based on his tenure. I still have 4 months on my contract to work at this school, but the decision cannot be reversed. I'm wondering how to handle this situation. I cannot forgive this person for what he did to me, and I have so much pent-up anger and frustration. Please help."
Wow.
Yeah, so what a story.
Jesus.
I really want to know what the lie was.
I know.
To get Jay fired from his position.
If the guy wasn't even fired for being verbally and physically abusive towards children,
I don't know, is that acceptable in Japanese schools?
I hope not.
I'm not familiar.
Wow.
But, so he has 4 months left of his job, and he has this huge grudge against this guy.
I wonder why.
Yeah. I mean, it's rightfully so. It's
my
natural,
God.
I think, to hold a grudge against that person. But
Yeah.
So what should he do?
Geez, that's a great question.
Yeah, you know what I think, and I think maybe this is easier said than done, but you're already canned, basically. You have 4 months. The decision can't be reversed. I would just try to show everybody the huge mistake they made by being the most awesome teacher for these past 4 months.
Yeah.
These next 4 months that you could be.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
I think you can avoid that person, or even, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth confronting them.
No, I don't think so, especially since like they've already shown that they don't like you. So
Yeah, if anything, I would buddy up to them.
yeah,
And make them
Yeah,
feel really
make
bad
them feel really bad
for getting you fired.
Yeah.
That's honestly what I would try to do. I would try to make them feel so guilty. Like,
Oh,
wow,
man.
this guy is great. Don't even hold it. Gee, let go of the grudge. For the sake of your own revenge, here's the plan, okay?
Oh, man.
We're going to make them feel so emotionally broken. You want to make this guy feel like a real asshole
Yeah.
for getting you fired. And the way to do that is to just be so cool with him that he's like, oh, man, I can't believe I messed up this guy's life. You might actually get him to apologize to you before you leave, or maybe, in a perfect world, go talk to the school officials about what he said.
Right.
And you say it can't be reversed, and I believe that, but maybe there's a small sliver of hope.
Yeah, maybe like a recommendation to another school.
Yeah, I think the only way for that to happen is for you to just be as cool and as awesome as you can be.
Yeah.
And maybe in these next 4 months, the school will see that you are really a great and decent guy, and maybe they'll think twice about the reports you said initially about that other teacher.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll keep an eye on him, and even though you might leave the school, who knows, in a year or however much time, they might start to see that guy in a new light, and maybe you can save some of these future children from the physical and verbal abuse.
God, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's really a dramatic situation, it sounds like, over there. So maybe, honestly, this seems like a bad thing, but it could be a blessing in disguise, because you probably don't want to be at a school where they abuse the children, as you put it, and then ignore the situation.
Right, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, you probably don't want to be in a situation where you have this weird grudge and animosity towards a coworker or somebody who has some seniority over you. So this might be a great opportunity for you to move on to bigger and better things. Yeah. So think about it like that, and again, just try to put your best foot forward, and really make them regret. You have 4 months to make them really regret this decision. So I would do everything I could to just make them realize that you're probably the best teacher there, and they're losing you.
Definitely.
Sorry to hear about your situation. Thanks for the email. Good luck.
Good luck.
All right, everybody. We have another email here. This one comes from a person who refers to themselves as Confused Man.
Sounds like a superhero.
Yes, a little bit of a misconnection drama here. Let's get into it. It says, "Hey guys, I have a question about something serious. I had been very good friends with this girl for a few years. Best friends, even. We implied we had feelings for each other, but nothing happened. I always blamed myself for that. She would always talk about how sad she was, and oftentimes I felt like it was my responsibility to make her feel better. It was tough to balance out a friendship and romantic feelings, but in the end, I was really emotionally drained. I wanted things to work out, but in a way, I felt like I was bending over backwards emotionally to appease her. It came to a point where I was putting her feelings before mine. It was something that was really hard on me. I met another girl I liked and started seeing her, but as a result, my best friend doesn't want me in their life anymore. The situation is awkward because we never really had an official thing. It has been really tough to carry on without her because I see her everywhere. I wish we could be friends again and work things out, but I don't know what to do. Even though we had our hardships, I still care about her immensely and I want her to be happy. I thought she would also want me to be happy. What do you guys think? Thanks, Confused Man."
All right. Have you ever been in a situation where, like, I don't want to say toxic friend, but
I probably was the toxic friend.
Were you?
Yeah, when I was younger and more
dramatic,
insecure. Yeah, dramatic. Totally. Yes, definitely. I think. So the way I read this situation is, she likes Confused Man. Yes. She had feelings for him, and now he's dating somebody else, and she's extremely jealous. Yeah. And can't handle it.
Absolutely.
You say that she was always talking about how she was sad, which doesn't sound very fun. No. Doesn't sound like a fun person to be around, but also sounds like somebody who is,
it's like an attention thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a nice way to put it. Like, emotionally vulnerable, perhaps. Yeah. Like somebody who is dealing with issues. I mean, I think everybody strives to be just consistently happy. And if they can't maintain that, if they're always finding that they're sad or upset about something, then it doesn't surprise me that that might be the type of person who, when they have feelings for their best friend and their best friend starts dating somebody else, they, kind of take it too far to swing the other way and be like, well, if I can't be with you, then I don't want to see you at all. Yeah. It sounds too, I think that your friend sounds a little bit selfish.
Yeah. No, if she was your best friend, okay, say that I was some guy's best friend. Okay. And I liked him.
All right.
And he started dating somebody else because I was just sad all the time.
Yeah.
I would still probably be happy for him. Yeah. I would still be very sad, but I would still be happy for him because he's my friend. And as long as he's happy, like, great. But a selfish person, thank you. Yeah. Would just completely pull back.
Yeah, I think that it sounds like she's just thinking about everything in the context of herself. Yeah. Like, I'm sad. You're my guy. I don't want to be around you if
Yeah.
you're not going to be completely 100% available to me.
Right.
Which is really unfair to you.
Mm-hmm.
You already said it was emotionally draining, so, I mean...
That's not great for a relationship either.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It doesn't sound like you would want to date somebody like that anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, you say they're your best friend, but from what you described, they're not acting like a best friend.
No.
They should be happy for you, and they should also not rely on you to make them feel better.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make yourself feel better at the end of the
Yeah.
day. If you're relying on other people, you're always going to be disappointed.
Yeah, when you're constantly putting your baggage on somebody else, that's just unfair.
Yeah. So, honestly, confused man, my advice to you is if you want to be friends with that person, leave that door open and leave an invitation available for them to be friends, but don't expect them to take you up on it, because it sounds like they can't be a really good best friend to you right now anyways. It sounds like they're wrapped up with their own problems and issues, that they're not really concerned about you and how you're feeling. I don't know why you'd want to be best friends with somebody like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you see them everywhere, you should act like you guys are still best friends. And if they don't act accordingly, then that's their problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, don't take it personally, because they probably would, if it was you or somebody else or anybody in that situation, they would probably act the same way. I don't
Yeah.
think that it's something that you did. It sounds like issues that they have that
Yeah.
are really things that you can't resolve. So
Yeah.
try.
You never know. She might come around and realize that she's just acting selfish. So
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. They might come around. You might become better friends than before,
Yeah.
having gone through this. And you definitely don't want to jeopardize your new relationship with being overly wrapped up in your female ex-best friend's drama, because
Right.
it's definitely going to make it hard on your new girlfriend.
Yeah.
So, you know, put your attention where it's going to be most fruitful.
Yeah.
Which I think is nurturing the new relationship, the good relationship, and not worrying too much or getting too upset about the old relationship and the bad one.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So thanks for the call. Good luck, and keep us updated. All right, everybody, we're back here with another email. This one says, "Hey, Meg and Derrick. Currently, my life is going pretty great. I couldn't be happier with my beautiful fiance, my fantastic job, or anything else happening to me. My issue is that my problem does not lie in the present as much as it does in the past. You see, my first serious relationship did not end well at all. I think my girlfriend at the time and I were at points in our life where we weren't really sure who we were and what we wanted yet. And to make a long story short, she ended up cheating on me with several different people, including some that were friends of mine,
Jeez.
or even people who used to bully me.
Oh.
Dang,
Jeez.
that sucks." At the time, not taking it well was an understatement for how I was handling it. I didn't know how to cope emotionally and had more than just that on my plate mentally. I was a complete shit show, and it was the straw that broke my back. Years have gone by since then, and I'm undeniably a different person now. It took some time to rebuild trust and get back in the dating scene, and since then I've had several healthy relationships, including the one I'm currently in, which I think will be going strong until I'm dead.
Oh.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice. My issue is that I think about this old relationship, not in an obsessive way, but enough to bother me, as any thought is more than what I want to give this woman. I feel like even though there's nothing more to be said, I never got the closure, or rather the understanding, of why it imploded the way that it did. I won't lie, sometimes I still think about that betrayal and it hurts. Sometimes I think about if everything had gone right and we were still together and how horrible the relationship would probably be. I know that I'm never going to call or text her. I've already made that mistake once in the past and it only led to more confusion. My question is, do y'all ever feel this way about old relationships? Am I insane by being an engaged man and thinking about drama that happened to me by my girlfriend in high school? I feel like I've gone over the situation in my head and rationalized what has happened to me enough times that I should be able to close this chapter of the past for good. I've also talked to my fiance in the past about how that affected me, but it's not something I really like to bring up because I don't want to be misconstrued as still having feelings for my ex. I think I just need to hear how ridiculous this sounds spoken from a couple of well-cultured relationship experts. Thanks, Kay. So, a bad breakup that is just something you can't stop thinking about.
Right.
I was definitely there.
Yeah, same.
I had an early relationship too that pretty much ended the same way you did, in cheating.
Yep.
Not with a bully of mine, which sounds way, way worse. And not with
God,
friends.
no.
Yeah, that's horrible. And I can see why you're traumatized by especially an early relationship.
Yeah.
The thing about high school relationships and early relationships, they are the most influential on you because you're still developing emotionally.
Yeah.
They're also the most fucked up because you're just stupid high school kids who have no concept of another person's feelings.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's your take on all of this?
I mean, I've definitely been there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ended really, really badly. And that was probably about like 2 years ago now, and I still think about it.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I think it's completely natural to still think back and be like, oh, wow, that was shitty. Like, in comparison to what you're currently in.
Especially when somebody cheats on you and then just kind of leaves you for somebody that you don't like, or you thought that they weren't, that's not the kind of person that they would be into, and then they are, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you like that person? Like, why were you even with me? And you get no closure.
Yeah.
As this viewer put it, the book is still open. The wound hasn't healed yet.
Yeah.
So I think it's totally natural
yeah.
think about that kind of stuff. For me personally, I was able to get over it.
Yeah.
And you say you're in a wonderful relationship, and that should be something to really consider. Some people out there just aren't a good match for you. Some people out there do things sometimes where they kind of just ruin their shot with you.
Yeah.
Which is to say, like, maybe as they get older and they learn how to be in a relationship, they'll treat other people better than they treated you. And if you could date that new person, things would be great. But unfortunately, you dated the younger version who did all these messed up things to you that frankly are unforgivable.
Yeah.
I think that no matter what, if they change, if they become a better person, great, good for them. But they still did things to you that have completely ruined any future relationship. Basically, it's unforgivable.
Yeah, and since you're already in what sounds like a great relationship, I would only focus on that and just be grateful that you are in a good relationship now.
Yeah, I think that, basically what I'm trying to get at is maybe you still have feelings for this girl, and you're wrestling with that and you don't want to say it. Perhaps you don't even realize you still care deeply about them, but that it's kind of like an abusive relationship, or it's an abusive situation where the abuser, where the victim cares so much about the abuser just because you got opened up so emotionally by the situation. You have this strange attachment to the whole thing. Eventually, when you get into a good space, you'll be able to forgive the girl, I think, and once you forgive her for doing all that stuff, I think you'll be ready to move on.
Right, and time also always helps. So obviously some time has passed, but more time and more good experiences will help you forget all the bad ones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know with me and my situation and my former girlfriends, I feel like, you know what? We were young, we were stupid, I was stupid, you were stupid, and I'm not that person anymore. You're probably not that person anymore, and it ended badly. It started good. I just try to take lessons from the relationship. Like, this worked. This is where perhaps it went wrong. These are things to avoid in the future. These are definitely red flags to look for in a future relationship to make sure that I don't get hurt like that again.
Right.
And if you can learn from the situation and grow from it, and not be angry about it anymore, and forgive the person for doing what they did, because you just realize that, that's kind of life. People hurt each other and do stupid things.
Yeah.
Then that's the best way to come out of it. And moving forward with your new relationship, you can be happy, and you can take those things you learned about yourself and about relationships in general and use that to make the new one better.
Right.
Yeah. So good luck with your situation, and really think about what it is. What was it about that girl that you still think about, you know?
Yeah, really evaluate that.
Evaluate the situation. Are there things you liked in that relationship that are missing from your new relationship? Maybe you can work on that with your new relationship.
Yeah.
And also, just don't forget that what she did to you was horrible, and you're better off not having her in your life.
Absolutely.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
See ya. Okay, we have another question here from a younger viewer about social media and internet stalking. And it says, Dear Derrick and Meg, my question relates to social media and how it's, I'm assuming, influencing my brain chemistry.
Oh.
I'm 19. I've never been in a relationship. Over the past year and a half, I have found sanctuary in gawking at either past female classmates from my high school or just pretty girls in general on social media, mostly Instagram and Twitter. The barrier for entry for Snapchat is greater since you need to know the person to receive snaps, and I remain completely anonymous while internet stalking without intent to act. Act on what? I wonder. I'm afraid to ask. I feel morally wrong for doing what I do. I think social media and connecting with people over the internet is healthy when both taken in the right dose and used properly. However, I fail in both aspects since I spend too much time on there and make myself anonymous. I also can't help but feel this is affecting what I want out of a relationship and how my brain sees women. I only look at faces and bodies and see the best parts of someone's life, which I feel can somehow be detrimental to my health. I spend on average around 1 hour a day on these platforms just looking. I'm a socially anxious person, so Tinder, equally as shallow as what I'm doing, would be too much for me. I'm not an insane guy. I have been working out and I'm doing fine academically at university. I think a lot of the drive for this confusion stems from being mostly ignored and chubby in high school. I never tried to go out of my way to interact with girls since I assumed they would not want me. The main reason why I haven't stopped is that it helps me throughout the day. When I have a crap day, I have something to look forward to when I get home. It's addicting. So, my question is, should I try to stop doing this? And if so, what steps should I implement to stop? Also, any general comments about this type of one-way communication with people would be useful. Thanks.
Interesting.
Yeah, so 19-year-old kid is addicted to internet stalking. People he knows and people he doesn't know who he just finds attractive. So let me start by saying I don't think this is extremely weird.
Yeah.
I think that it is antisocial behavior, but I do think it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Especially for people, guys coming out of high school, going into college, who don't really know themselves very well and don't know how to interact with girls. Watching from a distance and stalking them anonymously, I think is common behavior.
Okay.
I do. I think, and I even before the days of Instagram and the internet, all throughout time, I think there have been nerdy, insecure guys who just like look at girls across the schoolyard, you know, and don't ever talk to them.
Yeah.
But they just are kind of obsessed with the pretty girls that they know at their school.
Yeah.
And I think girls do this too with guys.
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, girls internet stalk guys just as often.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Is it unhealthy? I don't think so. I don't think so because I do think it's normal.
Yeah.
At this point in your life, at 19, going on 20, I do think it's normal. If you were in your 30s or 40s and you're looking up, you know, girls from your work, girls that you used to know at school.
Yeah, that's...
And you've gone all of these years having had no relationship and you just stalk people on the internet.
Right.
That would be...
that's a little extreme.
Yeah, more concerning. But I think at such a young age, you know...
Yeah.
It's not crazy.
But I also think, like, if you do strive for some sort of relationship, the whole anonymous aspect isn't going to work in your favor, obviously.
Yeah, and I do think if you meet a girl to date you and she finds out you're, like, creeping on all these other internet girls, it's gonna be awkward. So I think that it just depends on what you want out of life. Yeah, if you are interested in getting a relationship, you're going to have to interact with some people face to face or just personally.
Yeah.
You can't just remain anonymous.
Yeah, because that's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, and it's not a bad habit now, but as we've said, it can develop into a bad habit. So
Especially if you already think it's some sort of addiction, because you do it for an hour a day, it could turn into 2, 3, 4 hours a day.
Yeah,
and it could just consume your life.
if it starts interrupting your life and your responsibilities, then it will definitely become a problem. So, you know what I'd say is don't worry too much about it, but maybe try to cut back slowly. Set a timer, call out Echo,
Alexa.
put a timer for 45 minutes. And then that's your internet stalking time.
Yeah.
And then maybe tomorrow, 30 minutes, wean yourself off.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, I think what you're doing right now isn't extremely crazy. You sound normal to me.
Yeah.
So,
Just kind of also maybe try putting yourself out there.
yeah, put yourself out there and don't be afraid to face a little bit of rejection. Not everybody's going to like you, but somebody out there will.
Yeah.
And that's what life's about. So take a couple of bumps, and take a shot, see what happens, and maybe you won't need to internet stalk these girls so much. All right, thanks for the email. Good luck. All right, everybody, we're back here with Erin. Erin actually called us a few months ago to talk about her boyfriend who was leaving for the military. And Erin, how's everything going?
Hey, it's going good and bad. It's a mixed bag right now, how I'm feeling. But
Oh, no.
so yeah, he left about 3 months ago, and he had 2 weeks off during the holidays, and he came up to my hometown to visit me for a week, and it was a beautiful week. We had a lot of fun together. I'm from New York originally, so we went to the city a lot, and we celebrated New Year's. But at the end of the week, it kind of became very evident that we both really, really still were in love with each other. And you could see it in the way that we looked at each other. Even I introduced him to my parents, and they were like, you guys seem to really care about each other. But the week ended, and he kind of talked to me, and we talked together about how after this, he's going to be gone for a year. And that means he can't see me for a year, maybe a year and a half.
Wow.
He'll get a phone maybe in a month, and he'll have more computer access so he can message me.
Okay.
But he asked me to stop writing him.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Stop writing him or like end all communication altogether?
See, that's where I felt it got complicated, because he's only going to need to communicate by letter for the next month. And he felt that communicating by letter was for relationships that were seriously committed. So that broke my heart hearing that a little bit. But
Oh, man.
he said he'd write me one last letter in response to the letter that he should be getting when he went back. So I'll hear back from him from that. And then after that, it's only communication via phone and Facebook, which is much better than letters. But he felt that in that year, our relationship's kind of going to go dormant. So I guess kind of take a break.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's a lot of mixed
Um,
emotions.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds really like a tough situation. Can you remind us, how old are you guys?
Well, that's the thing. I'm pretty young. I'm 19, and he's 25. So it's kind of an age gap. We went to school together,
Okay.
but then he decided to do this because it's something he's always wanted to do. So that's why I also feel kind of okay with this, because I'm pretty young and, I don't have as much relationship experience as he does. So I'd rather kind of have the time to grow a little.
Yeah. That's understandable. So he's going to get a phone, maybe computer access in a month. Did he make it seem like he would be calling you then?
It made it seem like we would catch up and
Okay.
talk every now and then. you can't like have it all the time, and you
Yeah.
know, access can be limited, but it's, you know, instant communication rather than we had 2 to 3 weeks of communication, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you say when you guys spent time together, you guys were obviously really cared for each other. So I think it's strange that he would make a comment then about how
Yeah.
your relationship isn't very serious. How long were you guys dating for before he left 3 months ago?
Before he left, we were dating for about 9 months.
Okay.
That's
That's
quite
a
bit,
significant
yeah.
amount of time.
Yeah.
9 months sounds like serious relationship to me.
Yeah.
If I was dating a girl for 9 months.
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think that maybe it's a lot to have on your mind. I think when you're away from somebody, it's really painful
Yeah.
to have that on your mind constantly. So I think maybe he doesn't want to focus on it, and you know, I have stuff to focus on too at school.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's just too painful to have that all the time.
For
like being
him
away from
or
someone.
for you?
I think for both of us.
Okay. So, what do you want to do in this situation? Like, since he's leaving for a year and a half, potentially, and he'll be out of contact for a month, you know, regardless of how he feels in the situation, what would you want out of this relationship? If he was totally into you and wanted to maintain this relationship for the next year, even though he was going to be away, is that something you would want to do?
I mean, I would be okay with it. I would be happy to very much to stay in contact with him and try to maintain it. But if it's not something that he wants to do, I don't. It doesn't feel like there's
forget,
enough.
forget what
say-
he wants.
Oh.
Forget what he wants.
Don't worry about what he wants.
I'm
What
just
do
trying
you
to gauge,
want?
like, say he wanted it, you know, is that something you'd be willing to do? Do you want to be in a long distance relationship for somebody that you're potentially not going to see for, you know, 16 months?
Yeah, I'd like
Or
to see how
longer.
it worked out. I would be into it.
Okay. Well, then I think that, you know, it sounds like he has a lot on his plate, and maybe he wants to make it easy on himself. But if I can't speak for the guy.
No.
But I'm
Yeah.
trying to put myself in his shoes. I can't imagine dating a girl for 9 months and then I'm out of communication. You know, I'm far away. That I wouldn't enjoy getting a letter in the mail from
like,
her.
Why? I can't wrap my head around, please stop writing me. Like, why?
Maybe if there's an expectation of we're going to be writing back and forth, and that's
Yeah.
something that he doesn't want to do because he's going to have concerns and just he's going to be real busy. And
Yeah.
I get that. But I guess my suggestion to you is you should write him a letter anyways. You should. He's only going to be gone 4 weeks. Send him one letter at the 2-week mark and just say, like, you know, hey, I know you told me not to write you a letter, but I wrote you one anyways because I've
Yeah.
been thinking about you so much lately. I hope things are going good.
Yeah.
I don't expect you to write me back, but I'm thinking a lot about you.
Yeah.
And hope we could talk soon.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. I was surprised too because he told me how much he enjoyed getting my letters. So I was like, what do you
Yeah.
mean by this? But
I can, you know, I could see maybe he made a comment about serious relationships, implying that you guys aren't in one. Maybe he feels like this is what I feel in long distance relationships all the time is when you're far apart and then you come together, you have to do all this like catch up relationship. You try to force the relationship into those few moments where you're actually spending time together, and sometimes things get pushed further than they need to be, and you feel like you're forced to be more serious about the relationship than you otherwise would. So
Right.
maybe that's a concern he has, and you guys can stay in contact, but you know, just dial it back on the seriousness level where basically you still really care about him and you would love to see him when he comes back, but you know, you're not expecting a proposal
No.
or anything like that. And you know, he may have some fears or anxieties that he's not expressing to you about that, and so if you can kind of read his mind a little bit and be 2 steps ahead of him,
Yeah.
that might put him at ease, and he'll feel a lot more comfortable about the whole relationship in general.
Yeah. How has it been, like, just being on your own, too, by the way?
The first time he left, it was much harder, the adjustment, and then I got mono, so I was in bed. So
about
that's
yourself
gonna help. Yeah,
that
so
point.
I was mostly just taking care of myself and
Okay.
doing that. This time around, I don't feel like as depressed like all the time, and I'm adjusting much better because I'm kind of used to it now.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Military relationships are tough. Everybody says that the distance is really hard. And honestly, over the next year and a half, who knows what'll happen to you?
Yeah.
You may decide that you don't want to be in this kind of relationship. Maybe you'll meet somebody else who catches your eye, and then, if you're in a serious relationship with this guy, it's going to be a really sticky situation for you. Mm-hmm. So maybe just taking things as they come and taking things slowly and not getting too invested in each other right now is the best thing possible for you guys.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree that I'd rather see where it goes than try to force a direction.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to shut him out. I think you
No.
should show him that you care about him and just be honest with him too. Both ways, I care a lot about you and I want to stay in touch. And then if things start to change, just be honest about that too. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like he's kind of putting you guys in a situation where that is okay, just to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a point that he tried to emphasize was it's okay if you find somebody else, like if things go that direction.
Okay.
Yeah, and you never know. Maybe you guys will stick it out to the end. And
maybe.
Yeah, I definitely think write him a letter in 2 weeks and then see if he wants to call you in a month. I mean, if I was him, I would.
Yeah.
If I had a girl that I really liked who is, interested in me back home, I definitely want to stay in touch with her.
Right.
So,
I still advocate too, just taking time for yourself, like do your own thing, make sure you're being happy and all that.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't focus like too hard on like the bad parts of this.
No, I definitely, in this new transition, definitely tried to be much more positive about it, and I feel a lot happier, so.
Good. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
And I think that being positive and happy will make him want to stay in touch with you even more.
Right.
Especially like compared to being depressed and sad about the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, good luck and thanks for the update. We really appreciate it. Call us back in a month and let us know how it all worked out.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the great advice, as always.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks. Have a good day.
All right, everybody. That's our episode for today. I want to give a big thank you to all our callers and everybody who emailed their issues in. Hey, if you like HeartSlayers, if you want to see these episodes 1 week early, think about visiting the Mega 64 Patreon. For just $1, you get early access to all our HeartSlayers episodes. If you want to follow us on Twitter for more updates or just to see what's going on in our life, you can follow me at Gustafo.
And I'm at Furnace Woods.
Yes, and a big shout out and thank you to everybody who watches HeartSlayers on YouTube and leaves a comment in the comments section. Yeah. Sometimes people have their own take on these issues, and there's some really good advice down there. We read all the comments, and we really appreciate it. We'll be taking calls every other Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So until next time, take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.